Hello and welcome to another episode of the Electric Norwegian. I'm Mads. This, well, it says right here, doesn't it? The big fat beamer, or the big fat beaver if you want to consider the, well, the front. And yeah, let's go inside, shall we? This car is a Ix40. No idea what the 40 stands for. I don't care. It's probably the same stupid thing that Audi's been doing for a few years. First impressions are it's quick, but oh my god, quick but quick. Relatively quiet. It runs on massive 22-inch rims, so all the surfaces, the touch surfaces, yeah, they're heated. They're fantastic, and so is the steering wheel, which has a very strange shape. It's not circular. The steering wheel is a little bit too thick for my liking, but there you have it. And then you can put them all in different steps, from slightly warm to hot. That means that all of these things can stand running all the time, and it don't really matter because it doesn't get too hot. Like, that's the problem with steering wheels very often. They just get too warm all the time. The sound of the door is, well, so don't complain on the doors of a Tesla anymore, because this is worse. It's a carbon fiber reinforced plastic, CFRP construction, partly same as the ID3 was 6 years ago. ID3 had a frunk. This massive, huge thing doesn't have a frunk. Regen. And region to drive, and there's just perfect smoothness. There's no lagginess or jerkiness in the drivetrain at all. It's just brilliant. And this thing here, I can turn the camera around and show you. I can change the layout of the main screen in front of me. I like that. Now it's minimal and like I want this. I shot down the Ix3 for being cramped and not badly built, but slightly crappy plastic. This has some of the same issues. We'll get to them. But the turning circle, this is a big old car, and it can do kind of. It has to have some four-wheel steering somewhere, probably, or very well, I don't know. It's because it really does turn around itself very good. I'm trying to find someone to demonstrate. It's not quite ID4 levels of good, but this is a bigger car. So one thing though, I can't tell where this car's corners are. I just know it's a big thing. Look here. You can do this. Can't do that in a Model Y. It was 50 kilometers. No, it's not slow. And the big curved screen, main screen here. Sure, it could have been bigger, but because it's curved, this is the only first car I actually liked the iDrive system. Because I've been very critical of it in every other car I've driven, but not so much here, actually. So the beaver delivers. Yes, look at that front, it's a beaver, it's not. Well, sure, some people say you get used to this design, but if you go 20 years back in time, even 15 years, the last Bangle design, the Bangle Design 5 series, probably one of the last truly classically elegant beamers, really, that grows on you and becomes really nice. It's quiet in here though. Very comfortable suspension. If I do this, you see, it's going all over the place, but it's very comfortable suspension wise. It just swallows everything. So that doesn't make it. I thought it was maybe adaptive air suspension. It isn't, because it's more like a big American car in the way it just goes over bumps and stuff. Wonderful. So, but not particularly sporty, even though the steering is direct enough. It's too wallowy to be that. So there's no Model Y competitor, but it's not meant to be, because the Model Y has something this doesn't have: space, masses of space. This doesn't have a frunk. All this big front for nothing, nada, zip. I can forgive the BYD, the big tongue, for not having a frunk, because it's based on the hybrid model, actually. So that's okay, so it wasn't engineered into it. But this, being engineered as an EV from the bottom up, you sort of have run out of excuses. It's the same thing with the Mercedes EQS. It's just we couldn't be bothered because of some air cleaning system. Well, Teslas have been running HEPA filters for years, and they have a frunk, so I don't really. I'm sorry, no. I mean, this is a big front end on this car. You could have shoved something in on it. I mean, you managed to do it in the 6-7-year-old i3, for crying out loud. And that's a tiny car. So, I said the BYD didn't feel wide. It didn't feel as big as it was. This is the opposite. Here you feel the width of the car, really. And you can't see the front. You can't see the corners of it. You just know it's somewhere out there, lurking, waiting for you to crash into something. You know, to just cut a corner or something and hit something. But it's really pleasant though. And the drivetrain here, the transition when you lift on the pedal, it's just as in a Tesla. It's just as smooth. There's no notchiness, nothing. It's just brilliant, really. And the powerful region, of course, but it's so well judged though. It's so well judged. Oh well, loop, yeah. 59%, 173 kilometers showing on the thing. So this is going to be a close call, actually. But again, we're at 59%. So when I picked it up, it was at 77%, and it showed 240 or whatever it was. So, well, this is a big car, though. So far since we left the, well, almost home, actually, we had an average of 25.7, which is a lot. It's 3 degrees Celsius outside, so it's not too cold. So yeah, this is the low beam and this is the high beam. It's just so clear and crisp. It's really nice. So now it's sort of, I'm not doing the steering now, actually, the car is. So yeah, this is on autopilot or whatever they call it, and it's as good as autopilot. But the space in this car, yes, there's plenty of space for the driver and the passenger, by all means. I mean, it should be. That's the price of this car. It starts at around 600,000 NOK, I think, which is, I don't know, $60,000 dollars or something, the euros. This car, 850,000, which is around 85,000 euros, which is an insane amount of money for a car. And you should feel the key he gave me. I'll show you later. It's a keyless thing. It's made of plastic and it doesn't weigh anything, and there's no sense of quality in it. It's a bit like being given a marshmallow. It's like, right, and this is the key to something. So I mean, if I wanted that thing not golden because it's a bit too heavy, but please give me a piece of aluminium or something comprehensive, or glue some leather onto it, or give it some tactile feel. You know, it's just rubbish, really. And the buttons on the steering wheel here, they're real buttons, proper buttons. Yes, that's almost, yeah, it was a place to be in this car. fabulous. Luggage space in the back. I mean, it's there, so you know, it's not bad. It's just because the car is built as it's built, there's more luggage space in a 5 Series station wagon than there is in this car. Because it has to have this extra brake lights because of American regulation. And you just lose so much space. It is a well on the back. It's not the biggest, but it's there and it helps. But still, it's just so much wasted space here. Apart from that, I mean, and there's plenty of space in the back seat as well. It's all dark now, but I try to, you know, I can see I have plenty of space. I can see how this headlight, they're LED matrix thingies, so they really, it's fun to see them work. Just black and block and black out boxes around cars and do all that stuff and still work out on the sides. And this is brilliant. I mean, I want my Tesla to do the same thing. It can, we know it can, should be able to. Still hasn't, still haven't gotten that thing up and going yet. So, but this one, I like this thing. Yeah. So we've had an average now. We got the average now down to 25, 250 watt-hours per kilometer, which is, well, yeah, not very good, is it? I mean, BMWs are hailing themselves for being so efficient, but, well, no, man. I don't know. I really don't. Oh well. Time for coffee. I'm saying this is an American car. In some ways it feels like it. In other ways, when you really begin to push this thing on a half open country road like this, this is a big heavy lump, I think, but it's just settles into the corners. It's really, I'm liking this thing more and more, even though it doesn't have a frunk. Its boot is a little bit too small. It really is a wonderful place to be, except the steering wheel isn't round and it's oddly shaped. We're on the motorway now. This is running on 22-inch rims and tires, of course. Yes, there's a bit of wind noise in here and a bit of tire noise, but my word, this is quiet. I'm actually going to test the Hongqi tomorrow, so it's sort of, it's going to be a very short test of it, but still it's going to be a comparison because they're about the same size. It's about the same size as the BYD. And I said about the BYD that it was sort of this far from being up there with Germans, and that still stands. That said, the BYD is around, depending on spec, around 100 to 200,000 NOK cheaper than this. So, well, you know, it's still worth a check because the cars are about the same size, and you can get the Chinese car with 7 seats. Granted, a bit iffy getting into them, but you can, and they're there and all that. And it is a more practical boot. Yeah, I mean, the seats are, it's really, I have all the space I want in the front and actually in the back as well, behind myself, and I'm not very often, that's not often I say that. But in this case, it's true, it's massive space in here. Sadly, of course, the yeah, well, we've been through the boots, the frunk situation. It's just, I can't really forgive them for that. and you have the adaptive headlights, the LED matrix headlights, and the suspension, which I was so prepared not to like this car because it's not. They could have done better in so many ways, and they could. But damn, it's a good car. It's a really good car. But well, yeah, I'll get to the conclusion later. Well, the consumption is 254, so it is, yeah, well, you know, the Model Y and the Ioniq 5 would have done a lot better than this. And they would have cost a lot less, and they would have had more power, and they would have had a lot more space. But anyway, yeah, 38% left on the battery and 110 kilometers of range, which is really enough, I'm afraid. If this is enough, then it's gonna be down to the wire, and that's gonna give this thing a range of 300 kilometers in around 0 degrees weather, which we have now. So yeah, well, it's gonna be exciting, that's for certain. Let's weigh this thing and see how much this thing actually comes in at. Let's take my neck out and say 2.5 tons, but I have no clue actually what it might weigh. 2,560. Right, that's a bit. But not as much as I expected actually. Huh. I really love this cruise control. This, I mean, in my Tesla I often sit with the legs just crossed on one side, at one side when driving, like now on the motorway. I'd seldom do that with other cars because they're just not as good. This is. So it just does everything for you, really. It's wonderful. Right, we're at 19% and we have 58 kilometers left. I'm gonna get home. That's not the problem. So we can say this does 300 kilometers in around 0 degrees weather. And that's well, and I guess that's perfectly okay. It's wait for more, but I mean, yeah. Anyway, where am I gonna stop? Because I do want to stop. I want to try the Ioniq chargers at Riga. That's before I get home, but it doesn't really matter. We're gonna go there. We're gonna plug in this big beast, and we're gonna see what's what. Yeah. So we're gonna say that now. We're just gonna do around 300 kilometers of range, winter range, maybe more, maybe between 300 and 340 kilometers, maybe, depending on whatever. And that's not that bad, is it? It's a big, heavy car, this thing, after all. Then it runs on 22-inch wide, massive tires on top. So when you think of that, it's not really half bad. We haven't got the consumption down to under 25, just 248 watt-hours per kilometer. So it's not going to break any world records in efficiency, this car, but you know. So here we are then at the Ioniq charger. I don't know if you can see that, 15% with 83 kilowatt, which, well, you know, not impressive. Let's see here, it says it's actually 300 kilometers at 100%. So yeah, let's go through the interior, shall we? Big spacious thing here, lots of space. And you have this deck here, which is, like I said, I like the iDrive because it feels so natural. Then you have a space down here with your cup holders, your adaptive charging, your power outtakes, your huge, just massive massive screen. It's really quick and responsive, and yeah, it's wonderful, 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 wonderful. And here you have this one. But going through the materials, it's kind of non-leather vegan thing here. The seats are nice, very comfortable seats. And this screen you can actually anchor yourself to because it's hollow through here. So you can, that's nice because if you want to use it. I actually find myself just sitting like this. And then you have, this is nice and it's heated. It kind of feels, I don't know. Yes, it's padded, but it's sort of padded 2 millimeters too little. And the steering wheel has a strange Rosner Allegro shape, and I don't know. But it's really spacious, and I like this thing. I really, really. But this you interact with this thing, and this really awful, crappy. Down here it's okay because you're never down here really, but this you could have just done something else. There's a button there. Okay. Oh, that's not very big. It's not very big, but it's a nice place. Sure, I like it. Now it's 97, so it's going upwards. It's heating itself up. Also have a very, very, very good backup camera on this one. This is one of the, I think probably one of the best screens I've seen in a long time. Simply because, well, it's so clear. The headlights are really good. Oh yeah. Yes, so to try and sum up this car then. I came into this prepared to really just say this is why BMW made another massive, huge car. And they have made a huge car, and it's another big SUV, and the world doesn't really need that. Granted, it's better that it runs on electricity than on diesel, that's true. But once this thing gets pushed, and like I said in the beginning, it's a bit floaty, a bit American in the suspension. And then you begin to push it on a twisty, turny road, and then you find out that this thing does what BMW really knows how to do best. It just shrinks around you, and this big 2.5 ton beast really can be hustled around. Unlike the BMW or the Mercedes, none of them are particularly good at it. You can do it, but it's not really. But this is really, really good fun. But I mean, as Johnny Smith said, there's more space in a 5 Series saloon than in this car, and also you've probably just left 300 liters of luggage space in the front there on the table because you couldn't be bothered to build the car properly, and have to charge again because I don't know, the car says so. Oh, well, let's see. But I really like this thing. It's super comfortable. It's incredibly spacious, in both rows, really, front and back. The sound system is very good, not supreme, but very good. The headlights, it's good in all these things the Germans know how to do, to build a properly quiet car, efficient, quick, fast. And then it's not so good on the EV bit. it could have had more range. It could have had been even more efficient, but it isn't somehow, which is of course sad. If you need a lot of space, then you can find something else. A Model Y, for instance, or maybe a Hyundai Ioniq 5. If you want something fast and incredibly comfortable and quiet and consistently quiet, it's as quiet in 100 and whatever as it is in 50 kilometers an hour, then this is the car for you. And you need around 300 kilometers of range. This is the car for you. I also found that the gasometer, the GOM, is relatively exact. Of course, it has to do running variations, but it is relatively precise, which is good. The screen is brilliant. The seats are fabulous. The lights are good. The mirrors are very good indeed. Big, huge mirrors. And this thing runs on 285 tires. 285 2240 or whatever it was, rear tires, and they're huge. And still it manages to be quiet and just around 26 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I mean, it's brilliant, but it's also flawed. So you have to make your choice, like you do with the old cars, really. Now I have to find somewhere to charge this thing, and I have to deliver it and go and pick up my own car. Really, it's 11 o'clock in the night now. Barely been home. Oh well. So there you have it then. That's the BMW Ix. I thank you a lot for watching, and thanks for all the questions. I'll try and answer as many as I can, as good as I can. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. So take care everybody out there, and bye bye.